And she said even when she was young, it was because it wasn't like Spider-Man got bitten by a radioactive spider or Superman was born on a different planet. The Dragon Ball Z was the only one where they got that way through training. And the more you trained, the more of a superhero you got to be. I think it's fabulous that Rhonda's heroes when she was young were people who were rescuing the city and training and fighting the bad guys and not Disney princesses. When she was born, we thought she was dead. My husband burst into tears in the delivery room. She wasn't breathing, she was blue, so they brought her back and got her breathing, and then when she was two and a half, she still wasn't talking at all. They thought it was due to hypoxia, which is just a fancy name for being deprived of oxygen at birth.
I didn't speak coherently until I was 6 years old, and the only real way I was able to communicate was my sisters translated my gibberish for me. I was frustrated when people wouldn't understand me, and I was trying to get my point across, but I never thought that anything was wrong with me. And my parents never allowed me to feel like I was inferior to anybody else.
Since Rhonda couldn't express herself verbally, she did it physically. The physical things, the athletics were the things that she could excel in. And so that's what she did every second that she could. She started swimming when she was 6, and she usually was in the top 8 in North Dakota.
My dad would pick me up pretty much when I was still sleeping, put me in the car, drive me there. Swimming was just our thing that we did together.
I think the time that they spent going back and forth to the swimming and going to all the swim meets kind of strengthened the bond between them. When she was in swimming, he would yell so much you could hear him underwater.
I would swim and he would run around along the length of the pool, just jumping up and down, screaming, taking pictures of everything. You know, he was so stoked on it. He was the coolest dad ever.
Rhonda's dad broke his back. It was just a freak accident. We were sledding. It was North Dakota. The hills are frozen solid as a rock, and he ended up, instead of going down and up the next hill, somehow sliding across and going feet first into the opposite hill and broke his back. And he had a disease called Bernard-Stieller syndrome. As a result, he really didn't heal, and it got worse and worse and worse.
Bernard-Stieller syndrome is similar to hemophilia. You can't clot your blood. They told him that, he pretty much only had 2 years left to live. And first he'd become a paraplegic, and then he'd become a quadriplegic, and then he would die.
At the end, he could just, barely walk a couple of steps, and it was going to be to the point where it was just all downhill. He told me he didn't want the kids' last memories of him to be 20 tubes running in and out.
He didn't want us to suffer with him, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. And he went to this pond we used to drive out to. We used to skip rocks on it and stuff. And he put a hose in the exhaust and looped it back in, turned the car on, and he went to sleep. And that was it.